What up, everybody? It's the Rottweiler Patriots. I'm Vegas.
And I'm T-Bone.
And we're coming at you with another video today where we're going to be doing our Week 11 predictions. This is where we go over each matchup in Week 11 and predict who we think the winner is going to be. We are competing over the course of the entire season. Last week, I went 9-5, and T-Bone went 7-7, which means I cut into T-Bone's lead. That'll bring my record up to 91-59, and T-Bone's record is up to 93-57. So I just cut T-Bone's lead in half last week, and it was a much-needed win for me because I've been down on my luck in this. That's for sure. The week before was brutal to me. Anyways, we are competing over the course of the entire season. If you would like to compete along with us, feel free to do so. Feel free to drop your own predictions for these games down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you all have to say. And with that said, let's get it going. First things first, there are 4 teams on the bye here in Week 11. It's going to be the Atlanta Falcons, the Indianapolis Colts, the New England Patriots, and the New Orleans Saints. These 4 teams will not be playing football this week, which means that there are going to be 14 total games played. Let's get into the first one here. It's going to be Thursday Night Football, starting off with the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. The Ravens coming off of a tough loss to the Cleveland Browns, in which they had a really, really good first half and then a really, really bad second half, and they allowed the Browns, with an injured Deshaun Watson, to make a comeback and win the game, whereas the Bengals are coming off of a tough loss of their own against the Houston Texans, in which their defense just wasn't able to handle C.J. Stroud. Their offense had a very good game, but it wasn't enough to keep up with Stroud's play. So both teams coming off of really difficult losses, headed into a massive, massive game here, which will have a great effect on the outcome of the division. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, this will definitely be very consequential for the AFC North. And very, very interesting game. I think it'll be a very close game. That being said, I do have the Bengals because I think they're a slightly more complete team, and I do like Joe Burrow a little bit more than I like Lamar Jackson, and I think Joe Burrow has a couple more weapons. So that being said, I do think it is going to be a close game, but I do have the Bengals.
I also have the Bengals getting it done. First matchup, Ravens barely snuck out the win in Cincinnati, and that was when Cincinnati was playing very poorly. So with Cincinnati playing better, I think they're going to be rejuvenated, and Cincinnati just needs to win this game more than the Ravens do to get back into that divisional push, so I expect to see more fight out of the Bengals, although it is an AFC North matchup, which means God only knows. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Cleveland Browns hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, another clash of the AFC North. The Browns coming off of a tight win over the Baltimore Ravens, in which they made a big second half comeback. Their defense is looking really good, and their offense looked great in the second half, even with Deshaun Watson being hurt for basically the entire game. Took an injury in the first quarter and didn't throw the ball downfield until the very end of the game. And they still got it done, which is a testament to the Browns. Obviously going to be without Deshaun Watson, but Dorian Thompson-Robinson and P.J. Walker have both proven to be adequate backups, whereas the Steelers, coming off of a controversial win over the Green Bay Packers, in which they were barely able to get the job done, but not without some controversy in terms of the officiating. Regardless, the Steelers are winning football games in ugly Steeler fashion, and that means I think this one, especially being the AFC North, is going to get very, very ugly. T-Bone, your thoughts?
This is definitely going to be ugly. It's going to be a close game, too, I think. I think a lot of the AFC North is just going to be a big slugfest. That being said, I like the Steelers' defense a little bit more than I do going against the... I think the Steelers' offense can do something against the Browns. defense. I don't think the Browns offense can do something against the Steelers defense. So I have the Steelers nearly, narrowly beating the Browns.
I actually have the Cleveland Browns coming away with the win on this one. These two teams are actually very similar in the fact that they have excellent defenses, good talent on the offense, and the quarterback position is just a big fat question mark. So they're very similar in that respect. This game is in Cleveland. Pittsburgh did edge out the first one, but that was before Cleveland's season picked up. So I think Cleveland are going to be a little better headed into this one, coming off of a much better win against a much better team. I think they're going to get the job done here. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Miami Dolphins taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Dolphins, coming off of the bye week, they're going to be well rested headed into this one in what is a must-win game, it feels like, for them, just to stay ahead and put themselves in a good position for the AFC race. Whereas the Raiders are definitely in must-win position, sitting at 500. They've won their last two, coming off of a win over the Jets last week. 2-0 since firing head coach Josh McDaniels. It definitely feels like there's some new energy been brought to the team since he's been gone. And the Dolphins have this thing where they only beat teams above 500, or they only beat teams below 500 and they only lose to teams above 500. Well, the Raiders are 500, so no matter what happens, that fact is going to stay the same for the Dolphins this week. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, that is something to keep in mind for. I think it's going to be a tough game since the Raiders are starting to get into their own since the whole McDaniels firing. And I like the interim head coach, but probably in Raiders fashion after this offseason, and this guy's going to lead the Raiders to the playoffs. He's not going to have the job, and some other Patriot's going to get hired, and also plunge this team even further to the pits. I think the Dolphins are just the better team. I think the Dolphins are going to, clean them up, and I think the Dolphins are going to win. But I think this will be telling because of the new Raiders era post McDaniels.
I agree that the Dolphins are going to get the job done. I just don't think the Raiders are going to be able to keep up with the offensive firepower of the Dolphins. I don't think their secondary is good enough to handle it, and I don't, even with Max Crosby, I don't know if they'll be able to generate enough pressure to force Tua into mistakes. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Detroit Lions hosting the Chicago Bears. A lot of divisional matchups this week. The Lions coming off of a win in a shootout against the Los Angeles Chargers, 41-38. Their offense was high flying in that one. Big questions about the defense, though, obviously giving up 38 points. Now, granted, the Chargers are a very, very good team. But the Lions are 7-2, top of the division, and sitting pretty in the playoff picture right now. Whereas the Bears, coming off of a win over the Carolina Panthers, in which it was very ugly. Tyler Badgett able to get the job done against Bryce Young. Justin Fields out for that one. Not sure how he's going to be for this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like the Lions. I think they are on the move, man. I think the Bears are kind of in a weird spot with Badgett and what's going on with that, but I just think the Lions are just a better team all around. I think the Lions are going to win fully.
I agree. I believe that the Lions are a much better football team, and they're going to have their way with a very, very bad Bears team. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars coming off of a big-time blowout loss to the San Francisco 49ers, in which everything looked like it was terrible for them in that one. They're absolutely going to want to bounce back here, losing their 5-game winning streak in that game, where the Titans come off of a tough loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which they didn't look that great. Titans are kind of a team where you really don't know what version of them you're going to get every week, and at the end of the day, they're just mid. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, they have been pretty inconsistent. I've backed them a couple times and have been burned because of it. I thought that they would be a little bit better, and I thought that the Levis era would do something. But that being said, I think the Jags are just the more complete team, and I know that you're going to notice me saying, the more complete team is going to win. It's because I think that the more complete team does get the win. I think that even though Titans defense is nothing to sneeze at, they've traded away a couple of their players. I've got the Jags just doing what they do best and winning against crappy teams.
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars getting the win as well. I just think they're the better football team right now. And while I think Tennessee can win this one, especially since, again, division games are always weird, I just trust Jacksonville more at the moment. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Green Bay Packers hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. The Packers coming off of a tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers in which they are definitely feeling slighted by the referees. Had a fumble, ruled an incomplete pass when it very clearly was a backwards pass, and it really hurts them. A team that needed a win, they've been struggling. Whereas the Chargers, coming off of a tough loss to the Detroit Lions in which they put up 38 points and couldn't get it done. It almost feels like the story of the Chargers. Great offensive play, but massive questions and just underperforming from the defense. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the Chargers are gonna take the victory. I think that the Packers just aren't a great team. I think they're struggling a little bit, and I think that the Chargers, while they also struggle, they have greater weapons, all told, and can put up numbers despite that defense. I don't think the Packers have that.
I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one as well. I just think they're the better team. Both teams haven't been great this year, but overall, I think Los Angeles has done a better job competing against the good teams in the league, and I think that means that they're going to have a better chance winning this one. Alrighty, up next, we've got ourselves the Houston Texans taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Texans coming off of a big-time upset win over the Cincinnati Bengals in which C.J. Stroud absolutely balled. Excellent game all around from Houston. And they're riding a high into this one. A couple weeks after a tough loss to the worst team in the league, the Carolina Panthers, they've really found their groove here as of late. And C.J. Stroud is looking like he might even be a potential MVP candidate at this point. Whereas the Arizona Cardinals, coming off of an upset win of their own against the Atlanta Falcons, Kyler Murray doing great things in that one. He basically carried them to victory in almost a similar fashion to the way Stroud did with the Texans. So we've got two really good young mobile quarterbacks coming off of two big-time upset wins in which they've carried their teams, matching up here in Houston. So this one could be a good one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Oh, I definitely think it's going to be better than people think. I think people see this and see, a crappy Cardinals team and a crappy Texans team. But you've got Kyler back with a vengeance, and you've got perhaps an MVP Stroud. And so I think this will spell for a very, very good game. I really think that. That being said, despite, both teams having ups and downs, I do have the Texans winning it. I think Kyler healthy is better than Lamar Jackson. I have said that. I will stand by. No, I'm not going to stand by that. As soon as I said it, I sounded like a buffoon. Maybe years ago that could have been the case. Now I'm not so sure. That being said, healthy Kyler is something scary, something very, very scary. So I think this could spell for a great game. I think the Texans I think Stroud is going to punch him in the mouth. I do.
I agree. I think the Texans are going to get the win in this one. They're just the more complete team. They've got more to work with the Brown-Stroud, whereas the Cardinals are just all Kyler Murray, and I think that's going to be the difference maker in this one. But I do think it's going to be a very entertaining football game. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Carolina Panthers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Panthers coming off of a tough loss on Thursday Night Football to the Tyler Bagent-led Chicago Bears. It was an ugly, ugly day for them. They have not been good. They have the worst record in all of football, and a lot of the times they've played like it. Whereas the Dallas Cowboys, coming off of an absolute slaughter of the New York Giants. The Giants, one of the teams who honestly might be worse than the Panthers this year. Cowboys feasted on their dead, rotting corpse, and they'll be coming into this one with a lot of momentum, coming up to Carolina for this matchup. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Any team can win any game. I'll always say that because I believe any team can win any game. When you make it to the National Football League, anything can happen. Any team can win. That being said, it will be a cold, 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 chilly, wintry day in hell when the Carolina Panthers beat this Dallas Cowboys team as they are. The Cowboys have better everything. Offense, defense, maybe not special teams. Though I am a big Aubrey fan because me and Vegas are both Birmingham Stallions fans. So, I will say I think that the Cowboys are going to beat the Panthers. As much as I hate to say it,
I think that the Cowboys are going to defeat the Panthers. It's like you said, they outclass the Panthers in all facets of the game effectively. So, I mean, the Panthers wouldn't be a massive upset. You'd be stupid not to take the Cowboys in this one. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Washington Commanders taking on the New York Giants. The Commanders coming off of a tough loss to the Seattle Seahawks, in which they really fought hard and their offense had a good day. They just weren't able to get it done against a very good Seahawks team. Overall, though, the Commanders feel like they've been playing a little better the last couple of weeks. Got a tight win over the Patriots, which they did enough to get the job done there. So, but they're also a team that's been a bit inconsistent, and you never know when you're going to get from Sam Howell week to week, even though he leads the league in passing. Whereas the Giants are coming off of a brutal murder at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys. The fact that they scored points honestly feels like a miracle to me. They have been absolutely abysmal this year, and injuries have not helped them in any way, shape, form, or fashion. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Yeah, this will be one of the games of all time. I'll tell you, it's gonna be rough to watch. That being said, I do think that the Commanders are gonna get it. I think that while there is inconsistency afoot, that I think that the Commanders are just gonna edge it out, and because Sam Howell does lead the league in passing yards. That O line is abysmal, but I do think that the Commanders have it.
Yeah, I think the Commanders are going to get the win here as well. Now, again, in-division games get weird, but the Giants have just been so bad this year. And the way they've been playing the last few weeks, I don't see that changing. And their injuries, again, don't help a thing. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Niners coming off of an absolute shellacking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which they completely dominated them from start to end. No negatives for them in that game other than the fact that Christian McCaffrey has lost his touchdown streak, and that's going to leave a lot of people upset. Mainly McCaffrey, I'm sure, but the Niners are still a very, very, very good football team. It looked like they can beat anyone in the league, whereas the Buccaneers, coming off of a big bounce-back win against the Tennessee Titans, A team that's had their ups and downs this year, but they're in the race to win their division and make the playoffs, so every game counts, and I expect a fight from them in this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Thank you, Vegas. I think that the 49ers are going to come in there and just wreck the Buccaneers. I just think they're going to just destroy the Buccaneers. I think that they are back to full potential. And you know, I am not a Baker Mayfield lover. I think that the 49ers are going to get it done.
I wonder if there's any bias in your response there. There definitely isn't at all. I also have the 49ers getting the job done, though. I just think they're the better team, and I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be able to keep up with it, even if they play as well as they can. Even their defense has a good day, because their defense is pretty good. I just don't think they can keep up. Alrighty, up next, we've got ourselves the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets. The Bills coming off of a tough loss to the Denver Broncos, in which they screwed up 12 men on the field, send the field goal, give Broncos new life after the miss, and it cost them the game, and of course the offensive coordinator's job. So the Bills going to be rolling with a new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, in the interim quarterbacks coach. Josh Allen as well had a big problem turning the ball over. He has the most interceptions in the NFL, which I know Patriots fans are happy about for two reasons. One, because Bills, Josh Allen has most picks in the league, and two, because right behind him was Mac Jones, and until that game, Mac had the most picks in the league, so they just get to be like, we no longer have the most picks in the league. Whereas the Jets, coming off of an ugly loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, the Jets have been all over the place this year. You never know what you're going to get from them. You never know what kind of performance you're going to get from Zach Wilson, which I guess is better than last year, which with Zach Wilson was always a bad performance. At least this year you might get a good performance. So, who knows with this Jets team. Their defense is very good. They have weapons on offense, but the quarterback position is just such a big variable. T-Bone, your thoughts?
It really is a big variable, and this could be a very interesting game. I mean, I want to think so. Uh, I do think that the Bills are going to win. This is going to be a little bit closer than I think some people think. Or, you know, maybe not, because Josh Allen is Josh Allen and the Jets defense is the Jets defense. And I do think the Jets defense will cause problems. I think they've continued to cause problems, but I do think Josh Allen can actually win this game. Though in the future the Bills are going to have to ask some questions about, you know, whether Josh Allen is the guy, because he is he's not blossoming right now.
You definitely live and die by Josh Allen, that's for sure. It almost feels like Brett Favre, but with a couple more picks. But I also do have the Bills getting the win in this one. I think they're going to get revenge for their Week 1 loss. And I don't know. I don't trust either of these teams a lot right now. But I think the Bills... We're talking about Josh Allen and how poor he's been, but he's also done a good job producing for them. So I have a hard time seeing the Bills lose this one, even with the way that they've been playing. Alrighty, up next we've got ourselves the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams coming off of a bye. They'll be headed into this one with some extra rest. They're a team who have been very inconsistent. Started off the year looking like they might be one of the better teams in the league, but have kind of fallen off since then, and now they just kind of mid. Just kind of where they're at right now, whereas the Seahawks coming off a tight win over the Commanders, in which they went in and got the job done against a gritty team. And the Seahawks tied for first place in the division. This is a divisional matchup. This is a really, really big game for them if they want a chance at taking the crown from San Francisco this year. So we'll see about this one. T-Bone, your thoughts?
I like this game a lot. I think it could be a close game. I think that the Rams can make noise, and I enjoy seeing Carson Wentz. I do. I think whether he's good or not, I think is irrelevant. I find his goofy little practicing in Colts, Eagles, and Commanders garb. I think it's fun, and I think it's fun. I think it's a cool thing that he does, and I think it is going to be a very important game for the Seahawks because with that losing streak that the 49ers were on, it's a little bit more open now. I think the 49ers are the better team, but that does not mean that the Seahawks can't capitalize on a couple of the losses. I have the Seahawks winning, but that being said, any wins anyone who wins in this game, it could be very interesting.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to get the win as well. I think they're playing better than the Rams right now. The Rams feel like they're on a bit of a slump. Now, coming off the bye, I could see them, making some noise, especially since this game is at home. But I think Seattle's going to get the job done here. Alrighty, up next, it's going to be Sunday Night Football. We've got ourselves the Denver Broncos taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Broncos coming off of an upset win against the Buffalo Bills in which they were able to get a last-second field goal to win the game off of a fortunate penalty from the Bills. But they get it done again, beating the Bills and Chiefs back-to-back, 2 upset wins. And it feels like they're on the rise right now, whereas the Minnesota Vikings, coming off of a tight win over the New Orleans Saints, able to get the job done in that one. Josh Dobbs looking like the right move for them. Oh, both teams overperforming expectations, coming off of some good wins headed into this one. This one looks like it could be a more enticing matchup than it might have a couple of weeks ago. T-Bone, your thoughts?
No, it definitely is going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. And it's an interesting one. I never would have thought that Josh Dobbs was going to be the guy. And he was. He was and is the guy. At least for now. And with that, I think it's with Russell cooking, and he's cooking good. I think this could be a very interesting game. I think that either Russell or Dobbs could be comeback player of the year favorites so far. I mean, I can't really think of anyone else. I mean, maybe CMC, but he was already his comeback year was last year. Geno Smith existed. So I think this will be a very interesting game. I have the Vikings because Justin Jefferson will be back, and I think the Broncos' time in success is limited.
I actually have the Denver Broncos getting the job done here. This game is in Denver. It's honestly a really, really close one. The Denver defense has really picked it up the last couple of weeks. It's been a big part of their success. And so I think they're going to have a good time. I think they're going to do a good job limiting what Josh Dobbs and the Vikings are able to do. And I will note, the Vikings are 0-4 with Justin Jefferson on the field. So, I mean, this is going to be a close one, but you never know. Alrighty, and finally, for Monday Night Football, we're going to have ourselves the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch of Super Bowl 57, in which the Chiefs were able to get the win, though not without controversy. And they're going to be hosting the Eagles here. The Chiefs are coming off of the bye week, and so are the Eagles. So both teams going to be well rested. Both teams going to be on 2 weeks of rest, just like the last time they met. This game will be in Kansas City, and it's going to be absolutely electric. They're looking like 2 of the best teams in the NFL so far this year, and I mean, they're 2 of the teams you would expect to be among the best in the league, just given their rosters. T-Bone, your thoughts?
Thank you very much, Vegas, because I am very excited for this game. This is one of the most exciting games of the season, actually. And yes, in fact, I was making notes to myself that if you weren't going to comment on the similarities of the 2 weeks of rest and all that, I was going to do so. So thank you for taking the words out of my mouth. I'm excited. I really am. This is going to be really, really interesting. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Patrick Mahomes will probably take it, really show people why he is who he is. And I that being said, I have the Eagles. Just like last time, just like in the Super Bowl, I have the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are the better team. I think they were the better team then. I think the better team now, and they are going to prove that the reason that the Chiefs won were because of Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes doing his thing, and zebras. Now I'm hopping off my soapbox.
I also have the Eagles going into Kansas City, going into Arrowhead, and getting the win, the revenge game for the Super Bowl. Although the best revenge for them would really be winning it this year, which honestly I think they're the favorites to do. But I do think the Eagles are the better team this year. They're the more complete team, and I just trust them to do better than the Chiefs, especially given the Chiefs' offensive struggles the last couple of weeks. So I got the Eagles. Alrighty, that is the last game of the week. Please feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Feel free to drop your own predictions. Feel free to play along with us. We'd love to hear what you all have to say. And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you all so very much for watching. Please be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to subscribe. And we will see you all in the next video.